Hi. Hi. Enough fucking around. Let's get this party started. What do you say? Stupid.
Are you just trying to navigate adulthood in a world that still expects you to have it all figured out? Welcome to This Is 50 with your host, Travis Holmes.
Well, I made it back. From Alaska and Vancouver. Sorta. Fucking sorta. Leave it to... Oh, God. Yeah. See, a little bit left in there. Leave it to me. You know, this guy... trying to make everything smooth, trying to make everything nice and easy and flowing and stuff, and trying to have a good time and not to ruin a good time. But we're back from Alaska. We went to Vancouver for 3 days, flew into Vancouver, hung out there, and then our cruise liner showed up. And then we jumped on that for about 7 days, went to a whole bunch of different ports, and then came back, and then the whole ordeal, which I'll get into a little bit later on in the show. But I'm back. Did you miss me? You can tell, you know, when you cram a ship full of, I don't know how many people are on that boat, 3,000 people, 4,000 people, and you don't come back not sick, then there's something wrong with you. But this boat that we were on, it was called the Cognan Stand-In something. I don't know. It's Holland American or America or whatever. And we were on that boat, and I almost died. Yes, I know. And you're like, oh no, you're over exaggerating. You always exaggerate that. You're almost like, no. I almost literally died. Remember, I was talking about last week when I picked up the mama cat and she spun around and got me like a pencil sharpener with her claws and stuff. I was fine. Everything was good. Everything was healing up. And if you're watching this here on the YouTube video, there, I know, ignore the bandage. I'll get to the bandage here in a minute. But look, it's all healed up. If you're looking at it's all scabbed over. Everything's cleared up. But this right here is what almost killed me. Now, let me dive into what happened. Well, let's start this way. Let's start day by day, step by step, hour by hour, minute by minute, as you guys are going to listen to me talk about this stuff. I still have a little cold from the cruise liner, and I'll get into that cold, too. It almost killed me. Everything's killed me. Everyone's out to get me. I cheated death several times on this trip. So my wife and I, we get to Vancouver, and this is... You know, we've been to big cities before. We fly up to Long Island, but when we go to Long Island, we usually stay at her uncle's house, her dad's brother's house, and it's a beautiful house, and we really don't go anywhere. We'll go out somewhere, grab something to eat, bring it back. We'll go. It's not like a sightseeing thing. It's a family thing, so we never really leave the house. When we were in Savannah, Georgia, a few months back, we walked around the historical district of Savannah. Now, you see homeless people here and there, and you know, they walk around or they sit on the bench, but they're not really, I mean, you expect a homeless person. When we got to Vancouver, my wife, after 24 hours of being on land, you know, after we flew in and stuff, we were walking around, and Vancouver, I didn't realize how big of a city it was. It's a huge city. I mean, they've got not big skyscrapers. I think the tallest by law they can have is 68 stories. Some say 69, but that's another story. But everything is covered in glass. There's hardly any brick and mortar type buildings. Everything is a glass front building. I don't know if they produce glass in that part of town, that back of the woods there. But yeah, every building, it's full pane windows. And here's the thing. One thing that I found out about Vancouver, it's very expensive to live there because of the sight lines and stuff, and you're not allowed to build a building in front of another building because it'll block your sight lines. It's against the law. So you see all these weird staggered buildings, and every building has a glass view, panoramic view of the whole entire port and everything in Vancouver. So my wife and I, we land, and we're like going, well, you know, we get into Vancouver, and it's like noon now. Our flight was at 6:30 in the morning, and then, of course, you gain a couple hours going towards the West Coast. So we go, let's go to a bar. Let's sit down in the bar and meet the local folk. So we sit down in the bar, and we chit-chat and stuff. We went to a bar called The Moose, and it's like a rock and roll 80s bar, which is kind of cool. So we sat there, and we basically asked all the questions. Where should we go? What should we do? What's legal here? What's not legal here? Yes, I did. We did partake in the CBD or marijuana. Let me write that down because that is funny. THC is real. Write that down. So as we're walking around, we did a couple bar hops. So we went to 5 different bars within a 4-hour, 5-hour period. And what my wife didn't expect, but the bartender at the first bar said, marijuana is legal here, but there was a new law that passed saying that nobody can get arrested for any kind of drugs if it's only for your personal use. So we're like, okay, that makes sense. I mean, if it's just for you, you're not distributing it, you can't get arrested for it. But what's happened is the homeless people are literally sitting on the street, either smoking, shooting, or combination thereof how to get these drugs into your system. Now, I don't want to say there's a whole bunch of people, not like San Diego and San Francisco and Tent City and stuff, but we did see some people literally cleaning the glass pipe and getting their needles and stuff ready for the day as we're walking around the town. And then, if you start your walk at 10 o'clock in the morning to do some, sightseeing and stuff, by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, those people that you saw are doing that whole, that sway. If you're watching this on the YouTube video, that where they bend over, they're at a 90-degree angle, feet on the ground, bent at 90 degrees, and somehow still standing straight up and down. They're not falling over. And my wife saw this, and she kind of sat back, and we got to the next bar that we were hopping to, and we saw, probably a total of 12 people in our walk around where they were just completely blitzed. They were laying on the ground. They were getting ready to smoke. They were already done for. And so we sat down in this one Irish bar, and I said, "What kind of beer do you want, babe?" And she's like, "I just need a minute. I just need a minute." And I go, "What's wrong?" And she looked at me, and you could tell if you ever seen like a woman like in the movies wanting to cry, and that bottom lip starts to quiver. And I go, "Babe, what did I do?" My first reaction, "What did I do? What did I do?" And she was like, This is just so overwhelming. And I go, "What is?" She's like, the drug scene. I'm like, this is nothing. I worked in nightclubs for many years, strip clubs, dance clubs, rave clubs and stuff. This is nothing compared to what I've seen. But she leads this kind of sheltered life, from home to work and work to home and her horse riding friends. And, she's on a different level of people that she hangs out with and stuff. And she knows about my past and the underbelly of the nightclub scenes and all that stuff. So I've seen all that. This was all new to her. She's seen it on TV. But when you see it in front of it, when you place these people in front of you, she completely broke down. She's like, "I'm not ready." And she bawled. She cried and bawled for about 10 minutes at the bar. Granted, thank God we're on the end of the bar. Nobody saw her and stuff. I don't know what's wrong. I'm sitting there trying to make up. I don't know what's wrong with her. Drink wasn't made right or something like that. I'm trying to comfort her. So then she started taking, reflection inside of herself and saying, "Hey, am I that sheltered that this," granted, it was only like 12 people within a 3-block radius that we saw. She's like, "Am I that sheltered to where this affects me so much?" And, we got to talking about the nightclub scene, and I said, "Babe, this is what it is. I know you saw it on TV and you're like, that'll never happen in my neighborhood." And then you go on vacation and you see it on your vacation. She's like, I don't know if I'm angry, mad, upset, or want to help them. I said, "You can be mad, you can be upset." I said, "You can't help them. There's nothing." I said, we're not citizens here. If you want to help these people, there's people that you have to put in office. And I was starting to go down this political, this is what you hear about this here in the United States, as far as like homelessness and, people living on the street, and you have to step around piles of human feces on. This is what they're talking about. This is, if you let this go and you don't regulate it or you don't get control of it, eventually this is the starting point. This is what's happening here in the United States. And she's like, I had no idea. She's like, I hear this stuff and I see this stuff on TV. I had no idea. And I said, I know. So she snapped out of it. She's like, we're on vacation. And, in the back of her mind, it's playing, we're on vacation. So she had a hard time kind of relax. And then the second day we got into some mischief stuff. And I'm going to take a short little break and get into what we actually, the mischief that we got into even before we got on the boat. It might be a little bit of a long show today. I got a lot to talk about, so hopefully I can keep you entertained during the process. So stick around. I'll be right back. So just to let you know, marijuana is legal for recreational use in Vancouver. Also Alaska, by the way. We found that out when we were on the cruise. So the first bartender, it was a great bartender at the Moose nightclub or Moose bar or whatever, right outside of our hotel. We stayed at the Burrard. Burrard? Kind of a, it's an old hotel, and they've kind of retrofitted it and made it kind of fancy and retro at the same time. I don't know. It was a nice place. It was a nice hotel. Nothing wrong with it. Expensive. $300 and something a night. We were there for 3 nights. Thank you, $1,000 later. It was more expensive than the cruise and the flight to get over there put together. But so the one bartender, I said, marijuana in the United States is still kind of taboo, and you see CBD oil and all that stuff, which is kind of, they found a way to get around it. And then, here in North Carolina, it is for medical only, and you still got to jump through a lot of hoops and stuff. And the bartender's like, nope, there's a, dispensary right there across the street. He's like, go over there and get what you want and then walk right back out. And I go, is it that easy? He's like, yeah, it's not taboo over here. He's like, it's no different than walking into, buying alcohol or, buying beer or wine or whatever at the stores there. Now in Vancouver, they have package stores. Like, you can't walk into a convenience store and buy alcohol, beer, or anything like that. They have designated package stores that sell that stuff. We have that kind of here in North Carolina. Full liquor and stuff has to be sold through the ABC company. That's the name of the company, ABC Liquors or something like that. It's not the ABC that you see down in Florida, totally different branch. But he's like, yeah, it's no different than going in there and buying alcohol. He's like, you just go in there and tell them what you want. So my wife and I, wrapping up the day, kind of looked at each other, and the dispensary is probably 2 blocks from the hotel or the wherever we're at. Yeah, the hotel. And she's like, do you want to do it? Do you want to do it? I said, yeah, let's do it. She's like, well, what do we do? What do we ask? I said, babe, let's go together. Let's walk in there together. So we walk into this dispensary, and I was surprised that there wasn't a line out the door. We walked in, there's nobody in there. I mean, this huge, imagine a bank, walking into a bank, because that's the way it was set up, without the bulletproof windows that we have here in the United States. Imagine walking up in a bank, you got the teller line or the teller countertop. You've got the escutcheons, so you can, form a line, and then you got like just odds and ends stuff on the wall. The thing that they can't do in Vancouver is advertise. There's no like advertisements connected to any of the weed. So if you want like Snoop Dogg's weed, you won't see like, cardboard cutouts of Snoop Dogg, yo, G, buy my weed, that type deal. And one thing I didn't understand or didn't realize, that all the weed, everything that's in these dispensaries is supplied through the government. They have, their own plants. They have their own facilities, manufacturing and stuff. And they sell it to the dispensaries, and they have a tax on it, just like a pack of cigarettes. We bought something, it had a Canadian tax stamp on it. And so it's not like you're getting from, Tom and Moni's weed farm, and, this week is going to be bad and this week's going to be good. It depends on, the crop and stuff. No, it's all regulated by the government, which is great. So it should be. So we walk in there, and I said to the guy, look, my wife wants to get high. This is the way it started the conversation. My wife and I want to get high, but we don't want to get all stupid. He goes, okay. And the kid behind the counter is like 19 years old. Total legit looking kid, too. He has long hair, back in a ponytail. Very, very clean cut kid. He's not like, he didn't smell like patchouli. He didn't smell like, you know, all the other stuff when you go to a head shop. It's a clean building. Clean interior. And he goes, okay. I said, but she needs something to sleep. She has a hard time going to sleep, and we're tired of taking Tylenol PMs. He goes, okay, this is what you have to do. He goes, if you want the buzz of THC, but you want the relaxedness of, you know, the CBD is the way he explained it. He goes, so go with a higher CBD and a lower THC level. I said, I have no idea what you're talking about. He goes, well, do you want a joint? Like, do you want to smoke it or do you want an edible? I said, well, we don't have matches. Let's do edibles. So we do edibles. He goes, well, I'll give you, this is 5% THC and 20% CBD. And it totals like 2 grams or something altogether. I didn't understand that, but as we move on, I started to learn about it. I said, okay. He goes, this is, if you're not used to doing marijuana or anything like that, he's like, start with 2 grams. There's 5 in this package. And then if you take one, wait an hour. If it's not what you want, take another one, and then, go from there. I said, all right. So let's give me one of those. So he walks over and he grabs a bottle. It's like a plastic pill bottle. I don't know how to explain it. It's got a pop top on it. Like if you squeeze it, the top pops open. And it's got like the tax stamp on it to keep it sealed. And it says, and I'll post this over on the This Is 50 Facebook page. So if you want to see these pictures of what it looks like, I'll put it over there. And he goes, okay, that'll be $6.75. And I'm thinking in my head, $675? He's like, no, $6.75. I said, really? He's like, yep. I said, all right. So we did it. Went back to the hotel, had dinner and everything. And then we're like, okay, you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? I'm scared. Are you ready? So we both ate one. We fed it to each other like in the movies, And I said, goodbye, cruel world. And it took about 30 minutes, 40 minutes for it to kick in. We were giggling for a little bit, and then all of a sudden I look over, she's passed out. Now, we've had a long day, so I don't know if it was that or the edible that we took. So the day goes on, we go sightseeing and stuff, and then, nothing really exciting happened. We saw a lot of Vancouver. We did like the hop on, hop off type tour where you can jump on. They talk about some stuff. We went to the aquarium. That was really, really fun. We saw a lot of the historical part of Vancouver. We saw a lot of gardens and everything. And then we go back to the hotel room and she's like, okay, do you want to go get some more? I said, babe, I'll go get some more. So this is like, 8 o'clock at night. And I walk by myself down to the thing. I said, all right, of course there's another guy in there. So I have to explain everything again. So now I get the 5 grams and it's about the size of a, let's say like not a piece of gum. It's probably a 1-inch square. And it's got like sugar coating and stuff on it. So I take that one, 5 grams. It's still the 5% and 20%, but it's a little bit more higher dose. And my wife takes the same thing. And I don't know what it was, but I was like, whoa, whoa. And all the listeners out there going, you fucking pussy, you fucking pussy. And I said, babe, I think I got to eat something because I'm spinning. So she ordered a pizza and got delivered and ate that. That's one thing. You didn't really have the munchies when you're on it. But I had to eat something. And as soon as I ate something, I felt the THC head spin come down. And I was able to enjoy it and relax. And I look over, my wife's enjoying it. She's playing her game. And then she'll just stare off in the distance for she's playing her game on her tablet. And then that was it. And so we did it. It is legal in Vancouver to smoke it. And it's funny, when I went down to go get the 5 grams, again, walked right into the same store. I trusted them. Walked into the same dispensary. And as I'm walking out, I could see this young couple that were opening the pill bottle, but it was a longer pill bottle, about this long if you're watching this on YouTube. And they pulled out a joint. And they're giggling back and we're going to smoke a joint right here in the street. And I was like going, yeah, that was me, 2 days ago buying this stuff. But yeah, it's legal and it's not looked down upon. Everyone does it. I say everyone does it. If you do it, they don't look bad upon you. You know, you're not doing that 90-degree ghost dance walking around. So Vancouver was cool. And then our boat showed up and we had to go get on the boat and head to Alaska. And I'll dive into that story and what actually happened with my hand here. If you're watching us here, like I said on YouTube, I almost died. And I'm glad my wife is who she is and spoke up. And if she didn't, I'd be dead right now. So stick around. I'll dive into that story when I come back. So my wife and I, the morning that we get on the ship, let me tell you something about the cruise line ship and getting on it and stuff. If TSA here in the United States could take a note from the cruise line and how to get 3,000 people on board a ship or on board anything or through security checks and all the passports and all your boarding pass and all that stuff, I wish our TSA could take a note from at least Holland America. And you say, well, what do you mean by that? 3,000 people. By the time we got dropped off by our Uber, all right, I think we were allowed to board the ship at 12:30. By the time we were dropped off, it was 11:30. Sorry. Dropped our bags off, got our boarding pass, went through 3,000 people. 3, 4, 5, 6,000, whatever number up there. There was a lot of people. We went through the whole entire security check. We went through customs. We went through everything. And at every point, they had someone standing there going, okay, you need to go this way. Okay, you need to go this way. Keep moving. And everyone was friendly. Everyone was smiling. It took us from being dropped off by our Uber. 1 hour later, I was sitting in the bar on the cruise ship drinking beer or an alcoholic drink. And I'm like, this is amazing. Why can't TSA do that? Why can't our American TSA get these people? Because they don't care. They absolutely do not care. You ever seen a TSA person? God knows I've seen a bunch of them with this trip flying up there with 4 different planes. They just sit there and they're not even paying attention to half the shit they're doing. Do I take my shoes off? Take my belt off? Yeah, whatever. And, you know, the people checking your boarding pass and stuff, they're jawing back and forth across the aisleway to Teresa and Jerome and whoever over here and Shaniqua, and they're all, my baby daddy, go, man, she got a boarding pass, please. And she, man, you should have seen her. And they're just jawing back and forth. They don't care. They do not care. They're like, I got to work 8 to 5. I don't care if I get 5 people through or 500 people through. I don't care. I'm just sitting here. Smacking my gums. The people on Holland America, Jesus Christ, they were like going, hi, how are you? You're right there, purple tag security. Good, you're good to go. You want to go right through those doors right there and take a left. And Monica will be there in just 1 sec. And she'll show you where to go. Every turn, every aisle, every hallway that you went down, there was someone there telling you where to go, what to do to get you on this boat. Like I said, took one hour to get from being dropped off to sitting in the bar on that boat. That is amazing. That is amazing. And x-rays and everything. Oh, no, you didn't have to go through x-rays. No, I had to go through customs. I had to go through x-rays. I had to go through all that stuff. I had to take my shoes off. Well, actually, you didn't have to take your shoes off, but still, I'll give that to the TSA. So we get on the boat, and we're having a relaxing time. And day number 1 goes through. Day number 2, we went and saw Juneau. Found out that marijuana was legal in Juneau as well. So day 3 rolls around. Now, before we got on the boat and we're leaving the hotel, the Burrard Hotel in Vancouver, on my hand here, I'm showing a video. Let me make sure I can see myself on the video here. Yeah, I got to prepare for this story. I told you that the mama cat got me. She got me all, cut me all up through here and stuff. And then one of her talons got me right here in the crease. You know, if you ever get a paper cut here, you're like, that fucking sucks. And it healed over, didn't get infected or anything like that. And as we're waiting for the Uber, and I'm sitting there on the sidewalk, we got our luggage and everything, and I just start playing with it. I'm like, And underneath my skin, I'm going to use this hand so you can see. Underneath my skin, right about there, I feel like a small little sack, pocket, something like that. And it was kind of hard, but it was mealy, like I could move it around and stuff. And I go, I wonder if that's like a little infection or something I could probably squeeze out. And let me hold it. And so I pick at the scab a little bit and I start squeezing it to see if I can get it to come out. So me, being a man, I grabbed right down on it and I pinched it hard. And all of a sudden it went. It didn't come out though. It shot, the bag burst, the sack burst under my skin in my hand. And I go, well, that can't be good. That can't be. And I'm thinking to myself, my hand's not swollen. It's not hurting. There's nothing wrong with it. Maybe my body will absorb it. You know, sometimes your body does these weird, crazy things. And I'm just praying that this is one of those weird, crazy things. Well, it did the opposite of absorbing it. It rejected it. So we're day one on the cruise, having a good time. We're having drinks and stuff. My hand's starting to get a little tender. Day 3, we're on the boat. We're having a good time. We're going into the ports. We're having a good time. Day 3, 2, 3, wherever day I'm on right now, we get a call on the intercom system in the boat. An all call like 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning from Alberto. I'll make up his name again. The pilot. What's the guy? The captain of the ship. Pilot. Captain of the ship. Greetings, passengers. We are going, as you can see, we are going south now, away from Alaska. We have before he gets into that, we heard an all-call, emergency medical crew to room 4091, emergency medical crew to 4091, and that was it. So we're laying in bed at 6 o'clock in the morning. We have no windows and stuff. We don't know what time it is. We're like, I hope everyone's all right. You know, I'm thinking the average age on this boat is 68. So I'm like, someone probably had hip replacement or something. And then 2 hours later, Alberto gets on there and he goes, as you can see, we are going south away from Alaska. We have a passenger on the boat who needs to be taken off the boat. We are meeting with a plane from Juneau, which is the port we just left a day and a half ago. We are meeting with a seaplane from Juneau. They are filling the plane up now. We will put the body, the person, in one of our tenders, basically one of the rescue boats, or the boats, if the boat sinks, one of those boats. The boat will meet the plane, and then the passenger will be taken to the hospital in Juneau. I will have more details later on. Thank you. Over. So I'm sitting there going, oh, God, this is kind of eye-opening. Meanwhile, my hand, I'm losing my knuckles. My hand's starting to swell up. And I go, oh, this isn't good. This isn't good. 2 hours later, the boat has gone off. We're getting updates from Alberto. So finally, we're sitting at lunch. And I said to my wife, I'm having a hard time now holding utensils, like a fork. She's like, what's wrong? I go, I didn't want to show you this. This is the conversation I had with her. I didn't want to show you this because I don't want the whole rest of the trip to be about this. And she looked at my hand. She's like, oh my God, babe, your hand is swollen. And it was swollen. I couldn't see my knuckles. It looked like, you ever seen those latex gloves, if you blow them up and hold them? That's what my hand looked like. And again, I'll show these pictures over on the Facebook page. She's like, oh, we have to. I said, no, it's fine, babe. It's fine. I'll work through it. I can do this. I can do this. And so I'm running it under hot water, and it felt so good because I couldn't close my hand in the hot water, and they had goddamn scalding hot water in that fucking boat. So I'm sitting there, in the hot water. I'm like, oh, it feels good. It's nice and, relaxing and stuff. And then we go out for dinner that night. So day number 4 comes around, and she goes, she's upset now. She can't concentrate on the cruise at all. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to have to bite the bullet on this. I'm going to have to bite the bullet on it. So day 4 comes around after breakfast. I said, let's go down to the medic, they call it downstairs on the boat. And let's have them look at it. She's like, you'll do that? I said, yes, babe. If it'll make our trip a little bit more, for the last 12 hours, you've been miserable because you're worried about my hand. Let's go down there. I'm going to take a quick little break, and I'll tell you exactly what happened. So stick around. I'll be right back. One thing I didn't like about this cruise, the one and only thing that I didn't like about this cruise, my wife can agree, is the food timing stations. They had a sit-down dinner, formal sit-down dinner where you can get all dressed up nice and they serve you. You choose from the menu and you can have as much as you want. Oh, lobster tail, I'll have 4 of those, please. Can you bring those to me? Stack them up on top. The beef tenderloin, I'll have 5 of those, please. And then they have a buffet, like 5 different stations on. If you've ever been on a cruise, it's on both sides of the center of the deck and stuff. And when I say buffet, it's good. They've got a carving station. Everything's made fresh for you. Everything. They had fish and chips. They had prime rib. They had everything. It's not like hamburgers and hot dogs. It was not that thing. But the problem was with the food thing, they didn't tell you when everything started and when everything stopped. Now, I've been on Carnival cruises before. No matter where you're at, there's food somewhere. It might not be top quality food. Like if you missed the main seating for lunch, then they have like a buffet for lunch, which is lower quality food. And then if you miss that lunch break, then there's like sandwiches and snickle snackles, as my wife says. And then they have like little, if you miss that, then there's one more little lower tier of food. And then they start serving dinner. So there's always food on the board or on board that's available to you, depending on the time of day and the quality that you want. Now, granted, they had a pizza station where you tell them what kind of pizza you want. They would make a pizza for you, a little small, little 12-inch pizza. They had a hot dog and a hamburger station where if you want a certain type of hot dog, they'll make it all beef hot dog, all beef hamburgers. The line's probably 5-6 people deep. But they would never tell you when things would start and when things would stop. For example, breakfast started, I guess we'd get down there at 7:30 in the morning, have coffee and breakfast, and all of a sudden 10 o'clock rolls around, they're packing everything up. And then there's nothing for like an hour and a half. And then 11:30 rolls around. Now they're starting to bring out lunch. And lunch goes on from 11:30 to 1:30. So you got that little 2-hour window. If you miss lunch, man, you're done. You got nothing. You got to run upstairs by the pool and stand on a line of 30 people to get a pizza or something. It just wasn't handled very well. There wasn't food available all the time. They should have had something a little bit better, but I guess that's the way they save money because the food on the buffet was phenomenal. From salads to sushi to, it was good. It was good all across the board. The desserts, it's cookie cutter desserts. They're not making them fresh on the boat. They're, cake, slice it 15 times, pie, slice it 15 times. They're not making it on the boat. The muffins are, but not the desserts. So as we're sitting there having our breakfast and I look at my wife and she's not looking at my hand, but looking at my hand at the same time as I'm trying to hold a fork. I said, okay, babe, let's go down to the medic. She's like, we don't have to if you don't want to. I said, babe, let's go. I can feel my hand. It's on fire. Not literally on fire, but not literal, but it's burning. I can feel that something's not right. So let's go ahead. And now if it was moving, the swellingness was moving down my forearm. I said, yeah, let's go ahead and get this taken care of so we can enjoy the rest of our trip. So we go down there and we fill out the form and everything. Oh, actually, here's the weird part before we fill out the form. So we left from breakfast and we got down there and the medic closed at like 11. It's weird. They had like sea hours and port hours and it's like 2 hours, like the lunch menu and stuff upstairs, the food serving. It was weird hours and we just missed it by like 5 or 6 minutes. So the lady opens the door. Can I help you? We're closed right now. I said, closed? How can the medic office be closed? Anyways, she's like, fill this form out and come back at 2 o'clock. All right. So we did that. So what do you do now? You kind of sit around and shoot the shit for 2 hours, pray to God, you're looking at that and what's going to happen. And, my wife's worried about sepsis sitting in and the infection running through my body, which I was, when she started saying that, I go, yeah, I guess that's a possibility. So we get down there, and the lady, the nurse, looks at me, and she's like, oh, wow, you don't want to hear that from the nurse. Let me go get the doctor. So the doctor comes in, and she was a German lady, short bob cut hair, and she's like, let's look at that hand. She's like, oh yes, it's very, very. Does that hurt? Yeah, it hurts a little. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do an antibiotic, an IV drip. It's a very aggressive penicillin type stuff. I don't know. She was speaking in circles. My wife was listening. I'm just sitting there, and we have to do it every 8 hours. I said 8 hours for how long? Until the swelling goes down. I'm like, okay. So here we are, 2:00. IV drip. The lady, here's the scar on my hand from I had to have a PICC line put in my hand. And so now I'm walking around with this being bandaged up and a PICC line in this hand, which is all bandaged up. So here I am, totally useless, 2 hands. And so every 8 hours, sure enough, and the bad part about it was I had to go down at midnight. 8 hours from when we got everything done, it was like 4:00. And she's like, okay, you're all done. We'll see you at midnight. All right. We're on a cruise. We're having fun. We're having drinks. We're trying to party. We're trying to dance. We're trying to do all this stuff. And then go to bed and then turn around 30 minutes later and wake up and to go downstairs for them to hook an IV bag up to me and sit there for 40 minutes while this thing feeds in my arm and then undo it, tape the thing. It's not an easy task. Tape the thing back up and then go back to bed and then turn around and be there at 8:00. Yes, every 8 hours for 3 days, I had to go down to the clinic and get something done. Here's the best part. Oh, that's not the best part? No, this is the best part. Before the bandage, the German nurse looked at it and she's like, oh, this is like day 2 after 2 bags of IV. Oh, it's like a little fruit. It's like a little fruit. Look at all the infection is going right to that one spot, right in there. Yeah, where the cat got me. That's where the infection, you see it under the skin. She's like, I just want to prick it. I just want to prick it with a little needle. Do you mind if I do that? Sure, lady, whatever you want. Let's get this done. Let's get back on task here. We're trying to enjoy our vacation. So she goes, let me set up the triage room. And I'm like, oh, triage, here we go. God damn it. This is going to be a $10,000 bill. So we go in there and she sets my hand down there. And she's got a little nurse helping her from Portugal. Cute little girl. She was very nice. She was the best one that we had there out of the 3. So she gets a needle that you use to pull blood. It's just the tip. It's got the little plastic thing with the tip on it. And she pokes it like 5 times. Bing, 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 bing. Then she starts squeezing it. Holy shit. Thank God it didn't smell. That's the thing. It did not smell at all. So it wasn't that bad. But it started pooling in my hand. Like everyone having lunch right now. It was blood. It was pus. It was all different stuff. It was clear. It was pussy, blood, clear. I started pulling. Could I have some more gauze, please? And Portugal nurse would get the gauze and wrap it up. She's like, I didn't expect, and she squeezed it one time. It just shot out like 5 feet. She's like, oh, a little present. I'm like, yeah. So the nurse is like hiding behind like a mask shield or something like that. My wife's on the right-hand side. She can't see anything because the nurse is standing in between the two of us. So she's squeezing everything, squeezing. And I'm like, So then she puts the bandage on and wraps it up. And this is small compared to what I had. My whole hand was all wrapped up. And I've got the PICC line in this hand. I was a fucking treat on the boat. Everyone, what happened to your hand? What does the other guy look like? Blah, 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 blah. Shut up. So we go through all that. And finally, the swelling goes down. And like the second to last day, she starts giving me oral pills, the minoxidil in pill form. Because the IV has done its job. The swelling has gone down. She can't squeeze any more juice out of my hand. And she wrapped it up and said, okay, here's the bill. I think it was like $2,000. But I was in there, like I said, every 8 hours for 4 days, 3 days, 4 days. I lost count. And they did a lot. IV bags are, $100 and something a piece. Every time I saw the doctor and she squoze it, she's like, oh, it's like a little present for me. Can I squeeze it some more? No, we're done. Then they started talking about pimple popper and blah, 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 blah. So those 2.5, 3 days, whatever it was, wasn't the best time because we had to be, on the ship, be available every 8 hours. I'm fine, but this right here on my, where's the camera at? When the swelling went down, I had this red stripe on my under forearm that went to my reverse elbow, the inner elbow, and stopped right here. She's like, oh, that's not good. I said, what do you mean that's not good? Oh, that's not good. That's an infection. It's traveled up your arm. I said, well, my whole arm was swollen. I said, it stopped right here, and I got a little mole. I said, if it goes past that, then we can worry about it. She's like, yes, hopefully it'll go away. I hope. I said, I hope too. Eventually, we had one more bag and stuff, and it eventually went away. But so now I'm back home, doctoring this thing. I go this Saturday to an emergency room, not emergency, ER care. And they're going to update me on as far as what medication I need to have and what do I need to go on from here. This is my homemade job to keep it to keep it clean and stuff while I'm working. Oh, I know. It was fun. And something that was fun is the casino we had. My wife and I went back and forth as far as what happened, as far as how to spend the money and how to win money at the casino. And I'm telling her all the tricks and trade. And I'll give you guys a little break to recover from that story. And I'll get into a little bit more lighter stuff here. The cool stuff that we did on the trip. So stick around. I'll be right back. The worst part, outside of the food thing, but the worst part for me, I was fine with the food not being there. And, I took it with a grain of salt. The food scheduling stuff. We ate well. Don't believe me. We ate well. My wife was just kind of like, this is kind of fucked up. I said, yeah, babe, I know. The food, it's just not made for us. The average age, like I said, was 68. Almost said 68 degrees. 68 years old on the boat. I mean, there was hardly any kids. There might have been 24 kids on the whole entire boat. My wife and I and probably 15 other couples were the youngest one on there. Everyone else is old. And I found out that there was a group from Australia that were on a 6-week travel across Vancouver or across Canada, Vancouver, Alaska, and all this other stuff. So, you had those people on there. Their last dying wish. We got to do this before we die. So talked to one couple and they said the 6-week trip, airfare, everything's included. Outside of like if they want to do, go out to eat out off the reservation there, $27,000 for him and his wife. I said, wow. He's like, but it's 6 weeks. We don't have to pay for hotels. We don't have to pay for airfare. We're getting fed all the time. Now, granted, we're in a group of, 300 and some odd people. And, that Charlie's going to be the last one on the tour bus. And he, we're always waiting for him. And we're always waiting for, Susan. Come on, Susan. Jesus Christ. We're all dying here. Get on the bus. I'm getting on the bus. But one thing that I missed out on because of this, and I'm showing my hand here on the video, because of this and every 8 hours and trying to do stuff, I missed out on like freaky boat sex. Let me try that again. I missed out on all the freaky boat sex. My wife and I, because, you have those, your relationship, you love your wife. You want to express your love to your wife at home, but it gets kind of monotonous and routine. And it's but anytime like you're at a hotel, and in Vancouver, we had a great time in Vancouver, high as hell sometimes. And then on the boat, before the hand thing, we had a great time. And then all of a sudden, boom, it stopped to put a kibosh on everything. So I was like, oh man, I was looking forward to like Alaska sex, Canada sex. I was looking for all that stuff, but my wife, she was a bundle of nerves, worried about me and stuff. So I didn't really force the issue and just kind of enjoyed each other's company while we were together. But yeah, I missed out on the freaky boat sex, with the motion of the ocean. You hear all those cliches, like, yeah, it's sex on a boat in Canada and Alaska and all this stuff. Like, yeah. But yeah, I even told my wife, I'm like, man, She's like, what? I missed out on freaky sex. Because when you have freaky sex at home, and you do start doing dirty stuff to each other, you can't do that in your own bedroom. I mean, some people can, but when you get to a certain age, you start doing dirty things in the bedroom, and then 2 weeks later you have a fight or something. You're like going, this is where we did that, upside down razor blade dog stand or something. It's not going to be the same. But you could do the upside down razor dog stand on a boat because you never have to go back there again. You don't have to clean up that mess. Look it up. I don't know. I made shit up all the time. But yeah, I missed out on all the crazy exploratory sex stuff that you want to do away from your home. You don't want to taint your abode at home. So I was just kind of upset about that. And one thing that my wife was not upset about was me winning at blackjack. Oh yeah, I cleaned up. Well, how often do you play blackjack? I think the last time I played blackjack, like physically for money, was in 2004 when I was working in Vegas. But I understand the concept. So I sat there first night. I think I put $50 on the table and walked away with $160. It's not bad. Doubled, tripled my money. Well, I guess doubled my money if you want to take the $50 out of the bank. And my wife would sit there and she'd play slots. Now, on this boat here, everything goes to your room. So if you can fill up, you've got a little room card. You can fill up your room card with money on it. So you put your room card in the slot machine. It says, how much do you want to put in? You want to go, funding from card, put your birth date in there, and then 20, 50, whatever dollars. And then boom, it ends up on the screen. And the reverse, if you win, it, puts it in a little bank on the right-hand side. And when you pull your card out, it takes that and puts it on the card. So I'm sitting there playing blackjack and, like I said, won $150, $60 or something like that. And I go to my wife, I go, did you win anything? She's like, no. I said, look, babe, let me tell you the rules on how to play slot machines. There's no rules on playing slot. Yes, there is. There is a rule. There's an odds on playing slot machines. Oh, yeah? How do you know? Again, I make shit up all the time, but it makes sense to me. But it actually worked. Oh, I got to fix my headphones. I said, what you do is how much do you normally play? $20. I said, okay, put $20 in there. You got two options when you're playing on the slot machines. You play until you double your money, or you play until half your money's gone. She's like, okay, what does that do? I go, because if you play until half your money's gone, it's going to be another half of your money gone before something's going to hit, right? But if you play and you're on that side of the board, the leaderboard of whatever the random, the wheels spinning, it's all digital anyways, then you can, stay on that streak and play until you double your money. Once you double your money, get out because you're now on the other end of that curve where it's coming down. I know I'm going to have FBI agents knocking on my door. She's like, okay, I'll try it. Sure enough, she goes to one machine, puts it in, $20, plays, loses $10, pulls it out. Find another game you like. She goes to another game, puts it in, puts $20 on the board. Within, 30 minutes or so, she won $116. You're good. Pull it out. No. Double was 40, so now I have $70 to play with. No, it doesn't work that way, babe. It doesn't. Pull that. No. You said when I double my money, yes, you double your money plus some, but I still have all the way to $40 I can play. No. Okay. So she pulls it out, and she continues to do this. Again, she wins another $100, puts $20, goes to another machine, puts $20 in, plays until she loses half of that. Then back and forth. And then I let her be. All right. You know the routine. You can see it works. Go on about your day. Now, this doesn't work on all slot machines. It just works on the slot machines that we have here on the boat. So I go back to the next night. I go back to the blackjack table. I put $20 down. I ended up winning $147 based on the, hit, split, double down. If you've got, if the dealer's got 3 3 to 7 showing, you stay because they're going to bust. And I did all the traditional blackjack hands. And I won. It works for the most part. I go back to her. Are you doing the thing? No, I like this game. This was cool to play. Okay. How much did you? I lost $100. $100? Didn't I tell you to? Yes, but I like playing this one. Okay. You keep playing. I'm going to go over here and win back our prize and hopefully pay for this fucking medical bill that I've racked up $2,000 later. So I ended up winning probably a total because when we got into Alaska, the casino's open because we're in U.S. waters. So for like 3 nights, we were out at seas far enough to where we could play in the casino. I think I won a total of maybe, $475 with a bank, like putting in 50 one night, 20 the next night, and I think I put 70 in on the last night. So you can do the math on that. My wife lost $200 and something. So do you break even? Yes. That's the way it is. The house always wins. But my wife and I had a great time. We sat in the casino for, 3-4 hours, enjoyed each other's company. It got to the point where the pit boss was buying me beers. Yeah, let's get Mr. Holmes another beer, please. Please. El Wardo? See. Budweiser? Yes, please. Budweiser. So we played and had a great time. But she wouldn't stick to it. She wouldn't stick to the method. But anyways, so one more little segment, and I'll let you get back to enjoying your day. So I'm going to talk about our flight home and what actually happened. I know it's always trial and tribulations with me. So I'll dive into that story when we come back. So stick around. I'll be right back. So we had a 12-hour layover once we got off the boat. We laid in bed as long as we could. I had to go downstairs at 7 o'clock in the morning and have my bandage changed. That's always a thing that's happening, when you're on the boat, and they changed my bandage one more time, and they, for the trip home, they just want to make sure it was protected. Everything was good. So went downstairs 7 o'clock in the morning. The young Portugal nurse bandaged me back up, and we were free to roam the country after that. The last call for getting off the boat was at 9:30. So we had a choice for our luggage to have them taken out of the boat or off the boat, or we do it ourselves. Fuck that. So you pick out whatever time slot you want to get off the boat. I said, fucking pick out 10 o'clock, the latest one they got, and you wrap your things and you set them outside your door, and they swing by and pick them up and they take them off the boat for you. Then they start calling first thing in the morning, embark day or embark day, where you get off the boat. Blue numbers 1 and 2. Your baggage is available. Please exit the boat now. This all starts at 7:30 in the morning. So you're laying in bed. I just want a little bit of sleep after my bandage. Brown, series 1, 2, and 3. Your bags are ready. 8:30, 8:45. Green and yellow, groups 1. Your bags are ready. Thank God we're the last one. And then finally we had pink. Pinks, groups 1, 2, and 3. Ah, fuck. Give me 5 minutes, Grant. Please. Everyone should be off the boat. 9:30 is the final call for disembarking the boat. Thank you for riding Holland America. Thank you for all your money and all that stuff. And so we get off the boat. It's 9:30. Now, we have nothing. We have no hotel. We have nowhere to stay. We're basically homeless, drug shooting up people on the streets of Vancouver because our flight's not till 10:30 at night. So we're sitting in the port, just outside the port. They call it Waterway or something like that. And it's 11 o'clock, 10:30, and we're sitting there like going, okay, what do you want to do? Now, she rolled her ankle before the trip. I told you that. She rolled her ankle. If I didn't tell you, I'm telling you now. So we're dealing with a tenderfoot, a 3-week-old tenderfoot that she's had. So we really can't do like a whole lot of walking, and especially with our luggage. So we go over here, we sit for 2 hours and hang out. We go to A&W Root Beer. for hamburgers and stuff. It's been years since I've been there. What a disappointment. The place is garbage. It was garbage. But, I mean, she's never been there. We tried it. She's like, I'll never eat here again. All right, well, there you go. Sat there for 2 hours, sucked up their Wi-Fi, sucked up their electricity, charging the phones, and then went somewhere else for 2 hours, and finally said, you know what, we'll take the train. They've got like a subway, monorail type train that goes to the airport. Let's go to the airport. It's 6:30. Maybe we can check our bags in and do all that stuff. So we go, get on the train, get on the plane. Here's the funny part here. So we go to check our bags, and you said, you can't check your bags until 3 hours before your flight. All right, so what time is that? She's like, come back at 7:30. I said, for an hour? I got to hold these for another hour? All right. So we go in the food court, we get something to eat, and 7:30 comes around. We go back to that same gate or the same check-in, and now there's 2,000 people there. I'm like, God damn it, we were here an hour ago. There was nobody here. Now I got to fucking go through all this stuff. So I put the big bag on there, though it's like 29 inches tall. Sorry, and what is it, like 21 inches wide? It's a big suitcase. It's a 10-day suitcase, if you know what I mean, for two people. So I put it on the scale, and the girl behind the counter, and it goes blink, blink, over, blink, blink, over, and then I see how much it's over. Blink, blink, over, and I guess we're not allowed to have anything over 70 pounds. And she goes, and she's barely 5'2" and barely 80 pounds. She's like, sir, your bag's overweight. And I go, at this point, I'm like, oh yeah? I stuck my hand in the handle, and I lifted it up. I go, now it's not. She goes, sir, but I said, I looked at her, and she could see I'm lifting it with my bandaged hand, this hand right here. I'm lifting it with my bandaged hand. I go, it's not overweight now, is it? She's like, no. I'm like, okay, so what do we do? I'll let it go this time. Like I'm going to see this girl again. Like she's like, remember that time I let you go? You owe me one. No, it's not going to be that kind of relationship. So I take the bag off. And my wife goes, what did you do? I said, I lifted the bag off so it's not as heavy. It showed 71.5 pounds, and I grabbed it and picked it up, and now it says 56 pounds. So I just took a little bit of weight off. I said, there's nothing wrong with that. She's like, they're gonna weigh it when they get on the thing. I said, no, they're not. I said, babe, think about it. We're allowed one carry-on and one checked bag, right? Yes. Who's to say I've got 50,000 pounds of stuff in my backpack? You know, even though it's a backpack. They don't weigh your backpack. What's the difference? Well, the plane's going to be all up. No, that's not. No, it's not, babe. It's going to be fine. You know, she's the one who worries. She's the one, like I said, if it wasn't for her worrying about this, I'd probably be dead by now. But the plane didn't crash. Everything's fine. We got home. Everything's good. Right? Sorta. As I'm getting off the boat, and we're sitting in downtown Vancouver, being homeless people, I started doing this. Watching this on YouTube video. This is 50 YouTube. Oh, I feel it. You can feel it like right here in your gondolas, in your glands right here that sore throat's coming on or something. And I start dry cough. Something wasn't right. I'm like, I'm getting fucking sick. Go figure, right? Go figure. You're down in the medic ward on a boat where people who are like 70, 80 years old going, I think I have COVID. You know, they're doing COVID tests, just ram jamming those things in those people's noses. All that, because that's who, every time I was down there, I think I have COVID. Have you had your COVID shot? Yes, but I'm not feeling well. And they do COVID test after COVID test after COVID test. And I'm down in the barrels with these idiots, these morons. So we get back home, and finally, after being up from, ready to do the math on this, after being up on Saturday, Vancouver time at 7 o'clock in the morning, flying to Dallas, I'm sorry, not Dallas, Dulles Airport in Washington, D.C., which is a 5-hour flight. Now we've transferred in time because of time zones and stuff, and then waiting 2 hours and then taking a flight from Dulles Airport to Charlotte. We landed Charlotte at 9:45 Sunday morning. So we've been up from Saturday, 7 o'clock a.m. Vancouver time to Sunday, 9:45 our time. I don't know what the math is there. If you guys know what it is, let me know how long we've been up. But we were sleepy and tired. So we lay in bed. We can't stay awake. We're like, oh, it's noon and we're like going, oh, I'm fucking tired. Finally, we go to bed and I'm like, I'm dying. I'm Halls. I'm taking Halls. I'm doing all that stuff. I almost died again. The Grim Reaper's out to get me. He was out to fucking take me down. But I fought back. If you don't know this about your esophagus, you have a hole, right? Or a tube. Tube. This is not a good sign to show on the YouTube video. I'm like doing a stroke thing here. You have a flap in your esophagus that closes when you eat, so food doesn't get in your lungs. Okay, got it? That's how our body works. Look it up. When you breathe in and out, that flap opens up, so you can breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Well, when it closes, if you get enough mucus and stuff on there, sometimes it'll solidify. I know. Here we go. People eating their lunch still. Blech. It'll solidify. And of course, me being a snorer and stuff, sometimes I quote unquote quit breathing, and it gives it time to, turn into concrete. So when I go to inhale, that sound. If you've ever had a panic attack and you cannot breathe, is a sound that you do not want to hear. I woke up. My wife's like, it's one of those, calm down. And the more you panic even more. And I'm sitting there, this is it. This is where in my mind, I'm like going, okay, I've survived Vancouver and the drug addicted, the drug addiction. I had my CBD. I did all that stuff. I survived COVID on the boat. I survived, pus shooting out of my hand. I survived a 27-hour layover to get back home. I've survived flying 4 Boeing Max 737-8s that have been known to crash. I survived getting back home. I survived sitting here and jet lag. And this is what takes me down. And I'm sitting there, and finally, I get a little bit of air in there, and I was able to blow it up, clear it up. But in the process of me being scared, and I'm not proud to say this, I wet myself. I did. My pajamas. I wear like night shorts and stuff. I was so scared and so not paranoid, but I could not breathe for a good, taking in the air for almost 4 or 5 minutes. And, I wet myself, and I'm not proud to say it, but I'm going to let you know this is what happens when, things happen to people of our ages and stuff. And so finally sat down in the chair. I got a big, nice, chair I get dressed in, big leather chair next to the bed. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, she's like, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm like, I think so. Can I get back to work? Can we just get back on a normal schedule? Fucking vacation almost killed me twice. So that's what happened. That was our trip to Vancouver. And I highly recommend it to anyone out there. Vancouver and Alaska trip. If you can do all that and avoid all the stuff that I did, you'll have a great time. Now, I had a great time. My wife and I had a great time. And as soon as we got home and I cheated death again, our next work day, we were like going, man, I want to go back. And she was like, yeah, I want to go back too. But we're already planning our next trip. We're going to go up to Maine and go see the Niagara Falls. Maybe I can get into some trouble there. All right, guys, I appreciate you listening to me ramble on about things that go on in my life. I appreciate you. Make sure you follow us over on YouTube and Facebook as well. All right, guys, see you. What's my catchphrase? All right, see you, bye.